Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DRAFTKINGS Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Avalanche pregame, it's not versus the Jets, it's versus the Golden Knights. Don't worry about that.
Wow. All of his shit talking earlier, and he messed up the opening card.
Genuinely has like 50 things to do tonight, so I don't blame him.
No, it's just you want to make sure that it's poorly shot.
True.
Poorly produced.
3 cameras was too good for you, chat. You don't deserve it. Avs, look, it's a back-to-back for both teams. We're not expecting the cleanest hockey game in the world tonight. I think it's pretty safe to say that. We'll get into Vegas' side in a little bit. On the Avs side, I want to ask you, who is the Avs' best forward right now? Because I think you could make an argument that it might be Gabe Landeskog.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Claude Giroux looked pretty good last night in that game.
About to be the Avs' best forward.
No, but I mean, we asked Jared Bednar about that last night. Actually, it wasn't me, but someone else in the media room asked Bednar about Gabe Landeskog. I mean, 14 goals in his last 14 games. Leads the Avs in goals in late February, which I don't think anyone had on their bingo card. He's not their most like dynamic forward, but holy shit, it's just consistent. The effort's there, and he's doing all the little things that have always made Gabe Landeskog so underappreciated.
Yep.
I wrote about it last night that he's always been like he's always had that like secret sauce element to that top line that he really makes it go.
Yeah.
But he goes away from that line last night where he doesn't have the 2 highly skilled guys. He's like, cool, I'll just drive the offense on this line.
Guess it's my turn now.
Right. And so he's taken it from being like the sneaky kind of playmaker, freeing up space for other guys to like, yeah, I still can do all that. But like I said, he's just doing everything that has always made him so good that you've seen in a lot of bursts, even, extended bursts. But I don't know if I've ever seen him play this consistently.
40-goal pace is kind of ridiculous, right?
Especially for Landeskog.
So, all right. Now I need someone to make the case for Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah,
instead.
let's go with Nathan MacKinnon last night having 14 shots on net.
Yeah,
right? Obviously, when you get on the score sheet, it's easy to say, well, this guy's producing because obviously he is because it's there. But Nathan MacKinnon had 2 goals last night, driving play. Almost had a hat trick.
Yeah.
Probably should have.
The 14 shots on net is ridiculous. I keep going back this can't be true.
It's so hard to appreciate how difficult it is to get a shot on goal.
One. Yeah.
Especially in an NHL game. But 14. I mean, the case for Nathan MacKinnon is he's Nathan MacKinnon. He's still Nathan MacKinnon. Yeah. And you see those games like last night. And even the one against Vegas a couple weeks ago, Jack Eichel's debut, it was like, yeah, right. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of talk about Jack Eichel coming to this game, but oh, by the way, I'm still better than he is. He's really good, but he still wishes he was me. Right. Yeah. And it's just, MacKinnon has the ability to do that. He's kind of like Mikko in the terms of he can have one of those games where I thought Nate was terrible. What was his stat line? 1-2 for 3 points? Yeah, well, all right. But then just every now and then he does have those games where you are reminded that he's a dominant player. You and I were just talking about it, Rudo. That first period last night I thought was fine.
Yeah.
Obviously the 3 goals sucked, but the way they played was fine. And those first 2 shifts, MacKinnon and Newhook stood out to me as
they were zipping.
They were going.
Yeah. Well, there are maybe 10 players in the league that we saw MacKinnon in the second period, the first goal he scored the other night, where it's he just decided he was better than everybody else and scored a goal. So it is really hard to compete with that. Meghan, you're the tiebreaker here. Landy, MacKinnon, who you got right now?
I think long term it still works out to be MacKinnon, but if we're looking at the month of February, I'm going with Landeskog.
Yeah, I like it. Great answer. That's it's a little bit of a cop-out answer, but no, it's not.
Completely a cop-out.
Here we go.
Both. I just want them both to have fun out there.
If we're looking at expectation too.
Yeah,
This
for
is the
sure.
expectation I have for Nathan MacKinnon, but this is not what I had for Landeskog, especially going into this season. So he has exceeded expectation in a way that MacKinnon hasn't.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
he's
a good
got that
point.
going for him.
Well, no, and I think it's a great point of like it's expected for MacKinnon to be the one that drives offense,
Right.
drives play. But again, like I think Bednar put that top line back together for a shift, maybe 2 last night. But other than that, Landy drove the offense on that second line.
Yeah.
With Nazem Kadri right there, who's having his own, who has worked his way into this conversation this year as well.
Yep.
And Landy was like, nope, puck on my stick.
I think
And-
the difference there, right, is like you expect it from MacKinnon. Landeskog, nice to have.
Yeah.
Kadri is unexpected. That's
Completely.
great.
Right,
Right.
right.
Like,
Nichushkin even,
you're getting that production from
unexpected.
him. Yeah.
So Val Nichushkin is the other one. I don't know if it was you who tweeted, or no, it was Evan tweeted out
There
today.
you go.
That people were recirculating there's a Yager quote from the year that he was with Dallas, Val Nichushkin's rookie year, and Yager was saying this guy's gonna be the best player in the league in a few years, and obviously he's still not there, but like Val Nichushkin looks like a top 10 pick,
Yeah.
and especially when you consider how he came into the fold for the Avs, like what you're getting out of him is.
A career year
yeah.
at 26?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, he looks like what Dallas was hoping to get when they took him 10th overall. Just the speed, the strength, and the ability around the net. That was what was missing for 94 fucking games a couple years ago.
I mean, even last year, even after he broke out, the joke we had running forever was he's got stone hands.
Right.
Something has clearly clicked this year where, I'm not going to say he's got silky mitts or anything, but they're good enough.
I don't know that one that he scored the other night, right around the
That's
net
a
was
silky skate. That's a silky skate is what that is.
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than-
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But these are the types of years that it takes, honestly, to win a Stanley Cup. Yes, it's the regular season. Obviously, there's still a long way to go. But every championship team, you look at their lineup, you're like, whoa, they got how many points out of who?
Right.
And that's kind of what the Avs are getting right now out of a guy like Val Nichushkin.
And you got to give props not just to the players, but to the coaching staff, the
Yes.
support
Oh,
staff
yeah.
that's going on there, because obviously everything's clicking because everything's moving in the right direction behind the scenes as well,
Yeah.
right?
Great
Like
point.
you're not getting production out of that with a team that's having issues behind the scenes. So props are due as well.
And
Definitely.
we spent a lot of time on the Jared Bednar piece, which if you haven't read it, go to the DNVR.com and make sure you read it.
It's an excellent piece. Highly recommend.
I spent multiple months collecting quotes and stuff like that, and AJ tied it all together beautifully. But that was one thing that was talked about a lot with the guys that we talked to, all the way from Tyson Jost on the fourth line, who played 5 minutes last night, to Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon.
Yep.
And one of the things that they all said was, he allows me to play my game.
Yeah.
And the way that Jared Bednar has found a way to take a bunch of players, allow them to lean on their strengths, and then find a way to kind of put them all together with other players whose strengths complement each other's. It's seriously not to go too far down like the Jared Bednar Coach of the Year rabbit hole and stuff, but I mean, you're right. He's done a phenomenal job of tying this group together and has found a way that you are getting maybe not necessarily career years, but you're getting the best play out of Gabe Landeskog, Nazem Kadri, Val Nichushkin. Andrei Burakovsky just went 18 games without a goal, and he's still over a 30-goal
of
pace
points
right
up,
now.
yeah.
Like,
and a point from 40.
right. Like he's Logan O'Connor has had his own little mini breakout this year within his role. Abe Kubel obviously scratched last night, but
He's got 7 goals this
You know
year,
that
like,
Philly
yeah.
is wishing they could have gotten the Abe Kubel that the
Yeah.
Avs have gotten so far, and
Definitely.
it's just when you step back and just look at, again, not even necessarily the production, but just the way that these lines are clicking, the way that these players are finding ways to gel with each other, that even last night he switches up those lines, and literally after the game was like, nah, we're in a pretty good spot. I can kind of fuck around with this. And you're still getting that type of production,
Yep.
even better production
Yeah,
last night.
really.
I think it's a great point, Blais, that there's stuff going very well behind the scenes, and just real quick on Val Nichushkin, I think that's going to be, of those 3 big UFAs, I really do. I think that's their priority.
I think so too.
I think they see him as the most realistic to be able to bring back from a cost perspective.
Why? Because what's happening with that other guy?
Yeah.
Getting the bank.
And I really do just think that
9-figure salary at this point. But
the version
Sup,
of
nerd?
This version of Val Nichushkin that they're getting, it's hard to come by. It is hard to come by players that can play that big, that strong, with that much speed, and putting up the points that he is. Andre Burakovsky, you're starting to think maybe we've got 2.0 in Alex Newhook. Nazem Kadri, you're priced out. You're priced out as much as you like to keep him. And Joe Sakic, both on the record and just in small conversations, he really likes Val Nichushkin. He really likes Val Nichushkin.
Okay, I've talked about this with you two before, I know. Megan, I want your opinion. Is Avs Vegas a rivalry?
I would say so.
Okay.
I do like your hesitation because I don't really think it is much yet.
It feels like it's building momentum to become that.
I think that's the right answer.
And I think with Eichel returning, and there are some elements of his game that he needs to work out, obviously. But I think once that comes back to him too, that is going to be a really competitive top line that can go toe-to-toe with ours, and we're going to see that become a little more heated. We've gotten a preview of it last season in the playoffs, so definitely think it's building momentum to become one.
Yeah.
Who do you think it is with right now, though? Is it St. Louis?
Well, so
who is it though? Like, because you guys are talking, like, I can see where you're saying, like, it's not quite there. You met in the playoffs once, right now. Mm-hmm. So I get that, but like, is there one right now with the Avs?
I don't think there is.
Yeah,
so here's been the Avs' really weird problem is you got really close with Minnesota.
Yes.
Yep.
That was my guess.
And I still think if you were to poll every Avs fan that walked into Ball Arena for 3 weeks, I'd be willing to bet that it would come out Minnesota still, because that's like the last.
You think? I think it would become Vegas.
I think, especially because of the boom in the fan base the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I think it might be Vegas.
Maybe, but like Minnesota's the last team that I remember like really leaving that like really sour taste, gut punch. They knocked him out of the playoffs
last year of Waz
in the what was this kind of Cinderella run with Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
Weren't expecting him to be there, and Minnesota knocks him out. And then what I really think pushed that up a level was, you guys remember the first game of the next season when the Avs blew a 3-0 lead at home against Minnesota? Zach Parise scores a hat trick, and it was just like this. It set off the season on what ended up being a huge disappointment, and I just that is to me the last team that's really left like a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
Now again, if you go back to the playoffs this year and you play Vegas again and it gets real heated, and maybe they bounce the Avs, this year when you felt like it was supposed to be this year, they pull all the shiesty stuff with the cap. That is when you really start getting hatred. But like last year for me, it's like, no, those were two really good teams and one of them had to lose.
Yep.
And the series never got nasty. Didn't even go to 7 games. And I think you're building towards that. But the Avs' weird problem has been they were so bad for a while that there wasn't really any teams to have a rivalry with. And now they're just so much better than every team in their division that it's like,
You say the series has never got nasty, but Ryan Reeves did like rip a lock of Ryan Graves' hair out.
Yeah.
Some things happen.
Yeah, but
That's so true.
Yeah, I did forget about that. But like,
forget about that.
I don't know, like Ryan Graves left. Like, he was like a bottom pairing defenseman. Where it's like,
fair. It wasn't big name stuff.
The nastiness hasn't been enough yet, right? Like, it's not that Red Wings. Like, that's the problem with the Avs, is that you have
You're comparing it
history
to
of
the
Red
greatest
Wings.
rivalry of all
Right.
time.
There you go.
Seriously, I was just talking to someone about it like a couple weeks ago that Avs Red Wings is considered one of the greatest rivalries in the history of sports.
Yeah, not just hockey.
Like, let alone hockey. Like, one of the greatest rivalries in the history of sports. So that's another one too, where I would be willing to bet, and this is an impossible thing to ever prove, so I'm just going to walk around like I'm right, that if you truly polled like all Avs fans, it would be Minnesota and Detroit 1 and 2, and then Vegas, because I think you're right. I think it's building.
Yeah.
And especially if assuming Vegas makes the playoffs this year, if they keep meeting in the playoffs and stuff like that, and they keep staying as dominant teams, that's how. Because that was what created the Red Wings one. Was that it was just they always, the road for the other team always went through. The other team. I don't know. Fuck. The road for Detroit always went through Colorado. The road for Colorado always went through Detroit. And just we were robbed of that 3 years in a row with Vegas. And maybe if you get those 3 series, then you're there. But as of right now, it's one playoff series in a COVID-shortened year.
Yeah.
Is this podcast believers in karma?
Yeah.
Karma?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
To an extent.
Yes. Okay. Vegas does a bunch of cap circumvention nonsense.
Oh, dude, this has been running through my mind for the last 3 days.
And then 2 weeks later, Robin Lehner's hurt. Max Pacioretty is out tonight. Matthias Janmark's out tonight. Obviously, Stone is on LTIR. Alec Martinez has not come back yet. All of a sudden, injuries are piling up big time for Vegas.
Right.
Let's start here. Megan, do you think they're still a playoff team? Is there some danger here that they could fall out, or do you think they're okay?
Well, I'm looking at their goaltending situation specifically as a huge concern because there are other pieces of that maybe they can fill in and supplement with other players, but the goaltending situation feels a little dire.
Laurent Brossoit is their starter right now, so that's not Robin Lehner for sure. Yes, exactly.
So anything is possible. I still think they're a playoff contending team, but I don't know if it's the kind of team that makes it all the way to a cup final because goaltending is just such a huge component, and that's a really hard piece to fix in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
And luckily they're in a soft division as well. So that helps out a little bit, right? Like, who do you have there that's really pressing right now? The Flames?
Dude, Vegas is third in the division. They're chasing LA and Calgary as of tonight.
I know. LA is sneakily getting points.
And Anaheim's 1 point on their heels, and Edmonton's 3, and then they're on the outside looking in. So I make the joke kind of tongue-in-cheek if they're still I think they're still a playoff team, and I think they still have a nice little run. But, you're asking about karma. This is one of those things where it's like you made an awfully lofty bet given where you were in the standings that we don't need Mark Stone the rest of the way. It's a soft division, but with all of this piling up, suddenly this roster is not very good.
Yeah.
The best player on your team is trying to come back after 18 months off, which Jack Eichel's very good.
Of course.
But there's a lot of things piling up that I think they're going to get in, but this is going to be a sprint for them down the stretch where, the Avs are, I don't think they're going to be resting guys, but Nathan MacKinnon took the night off a couple nights ago because he had something kind of lingering.
I straight up think they're going to rest.
Well, so Bednar was asked last night, are you guys going to be doing that more? And he said, look, we're going to listen to the players. If they feel like they need a night off. And he said, not in these exact words, but given the situation we're in, we have the luxury of doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of what Vegas tried to get a little cute with is, we're in a weak division. We're sitting at the top. We're adding all these guys. Yeah, we can kind of get away with it. Now suddenly they've lost 4 in a row. We were making our videos yesterday, and I made the comment of look, if Vegas loses to Arizona, which I don't think they will, they did, and then they come out tonight, and if I'm not saying this is how the game's going to go, but if the Avs come out and bury them tonight, you're in a lot of trouble if you're Vegas.
Yeah.
You are suddenly having to make up ground. By the way, all those teams that we mentioned earlier have games in hand. And so you're going to be having to play for your life every night the rest of the way. And then, Megan, to your point, let's say Robin Lehner gets healthy here in a few weeks. You're having to throw him right back into a heated playoff race. And he hasn't had the best year to begin with. There's a lot of question marks around him in general.
Yes.
To the point that even before this injury really cropped up, there was the rumor swirling around about them wanting to bring back Fleury. They shot it down, but rumors don't come from nowhere, right? And so I just, this is Hockey Jesus is not looking favorably on the Knights right now because I don't know, dude. It's just, they made a huge gamble, and it's going to take, they're going to have to fight tooth and nail for it to pay off.
Is that a new age take, by the way? I'm sorry.
What?
Hockey Jesus versus the hockey gods.
No, I don't know. I just
like old hockey testament.
There's only
versus
one
new
true hockey
testament.
god.
What's going on here? Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. I use that all the time. I scuff a new pair of
Hockey
shoes.
Jesus is Connor McDavid. We've established
Shoe
this.
Jesus
okay?
is mad that I spent more money on Vans, so he scuffed these ones up. I don't know. I just say it all the time.
That sounds like a Jesse take. though.
Very much so.
Yeah.
The flip side of this conversation is the Avs could lose 4 games in a row and still be 6 points clear of the entire West.
Yeah.
Well, so and that was the point that when you me and AJ were all talking yesterday, I was like, look, you never want to lose a run of games, and coincidentally, Vegas has lost 4 in a row, but Vegas has to have this game tonight.
Yep.
And that sucks when you're going against the hottest team
Right,
in the
right.
NHL right now.
And I laugh because, our buddy Ken from Sin Bin, he tweets out, oh, if you win tonight against the Avs, all is forgiven. It's like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. You're chasing the LA Kings, and you think one win forgives everything that you've done in the last 3 weeks? Like, I don't know.
But it's good for the locker room. It's a good morale builder, morale builder. I mean,
Build some morals.
You build some morals around it. But I mean, it's one of those things that you can build off, right, as a team, especially when you're in a huge losing streak. You go against a good team, beat them.
Yeah.
You start to feel good, and then you start to believe in yourself a little bit more. The opposite of that is
Yeah.
if the Avs do come out, like you're talking about, and just lay a stomping on this team, it's going to hurt them.
Because
that's like where it's like, what's going to happen in the next month for this team?
Talking about building a rivalry with Vegas, like, they're coming off a horrible loss. You know that the Avs are sitting in the locker room like, let's go take their heads off slowly.
Yeah.
Like, real gruesome, as ugly as it can get. Because they know what a bad loss tonight would do after losing to Arizona.
Are we going to see a angry Nathan MacKinnon tonight?
Well, the conversation for the Avs now is they've won the West for all purposes, really. But they have a 2-point lead on the entire league. Tonight is a night where you say, we can put a stranglehold on Carolina and Florida and really get home ice for the entire playoffs. Yeah. That's what they're looking at this year.
It's also one of those, like, you plant a seed of doubt in Vegas, right? We beat you 2-0 a couple weeks ago on your big night with Jack Eichel. And now when you're desperate, we stomped you anyway.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
You see what's going on?
I'm assuming those are
Nashville things are happening.
But again, the great part about this game is I don't really think this game means a whole lot for the Avs.
Yeah.
Just, every game the rest of the way.
It doesn't mean a lot if they lose, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, especially after the last night's win.
Yeah,
again,
right.
On a back-to-back, who cares now?
And just, you're getting to the territory for Vegas where these games, Ken a couple weeks ago, when we had him on before the last Avs Knights game, he goes, the points for neither of these teams really matter. They're both going to win their divisions. And it's like,
that's still true of the Avs.
The points matter for Vegas right now. Like, they matter a lot. And again, I think they get in, and I think they still end up winning a round or two. But they've got their work cut out, and they're going to have to make some decisions over the next 3 weeks if they really want to try to get cute with this the rest of the way, or if they want to say, no, we need to cut the shit, we need to get in, because having to meet the Avs in a Western Conference final after 2.5 months of sprinting just to get in, it's gonna be tough.
The Avs know full well how hard it is to go down the stretch and literally get in the last day of the season, and you get to those playoffs and you're already dead tired. Which football team was it that was like their playoffs started in December?
Yeah,
because they had to win out essentially. I forget which. Doesn't matter.
But that you're getting into that territory for Vegas where it's like, if you lose tonight and you're Vegas, playoffs start March 1 for you.
Yep.
One last question for Meghan here, and this is very important. I need to know whose side you're on here. Who is the best team in the East?
Oh man. I don't want
Carolina or Florida? I'll
It's the team that's on the TV right now.
I'll phrase this another way. Do the Florida Panthers make the Cup Finals?
Let me make it more specific and even harder to answer.
Do I have to say yes or no? I don't think so.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I feel
like
sympathy
this
for the
pod all of a
Florida
sudden.
Panthers. I didn't want to say no. I didn't want to say no.
I mean, odds are that's a good bet to go with, but wrong.
Someone is going to owe me a steak when the Florida Panthers lose before the Cup Finals.
Oh.
Yeah.
maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
And then my bet to AJ is going to lose, so you're really just going to owe a steak to AJ at the end of this. It'll be fine. Speaking of bets,
we're going to Sizzlers.
let's go to Blais's bets.
We're going to Sizzlers.
All right.
It's up to 4.5 shots for Mac.
So,
So you would have won that 3 times over yesterday.
So, like, I usually wouldn't bet on this, but after last night's game, how can I not take that when you see...
Plus money, too.
Yeah, it's plus money. 4.5 shots. It's a lot of shots on net, but if he's feeling it, and especially against the Knights, which he might get a little angry at,
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a big game from Mac. So I took that bet. Plus 125. Go get it. Berkey with a half of an assist.
I don't know how you keep finding these soft
Plus
assist lines,
165.
but you do.
I'm
Taves
looking
is
for
plus 125 to have
And Taves,
point
again,
and
was
assist?
It's basically,
Yeah,
it's
plus
not quite
125.
Makar free money, but it's pretty free money.
heading there
Like-
right now.
I mean, like, last night, Berkey got a goal.
Yep.
Might as well add an assist to it. Taves, he's going to get an
He
assist.
gets an assist
That's
like
easy.
almost every night.
That's an easy guess.
Yeah, right. Like,
Free money. Go get it, Jesse.
the easiest bet on DraftKings is a Gale Makar assist. The second easiest is probably a Devon Taves
Well,
assist.
they've caught on to Makar now. It's
you don't get the money anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why you moved to Taves,
Yep.
obviously. Yeah. All right.
I'm still in Colorado. Always been.
We're like 5 to 7 minutes away from puck drop, so we're going to get out of here. I got a watch along to go do. If y'all want to join us, just jump over to that YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe. All the amazing things. We love all you. We got the watch along. We got the post game. We got you covered all night. Come have fun. If you're not already at the bar, we love you. Talk to you in like a minute.